A warm welcome to this second Volvo Group Supply Chain Quarterly Webcast. As you might know, the Volvo Group sustainability strategy rests on three pillars: climate, resources and people. And today we're going to focus on resources. And our main headlines are: how do we make a better use of the world's limited resources? How do we transform from a linear to a circular economy? And what is the Volvo Group's expectations and ambitions on common actions together with you, our supply chain partners? Well, to help me to discuss this and sort out these questions, we have invited today to the studio our Chief Technology Officer, Lars Stenqvist, our Chief Operating Officer, Jens Holtinger, and of course, the hosts for these webcasts, our Chief Purchasing Officer, Andrea Fuder. So welcome to all of you to the studio. As we are all aware of, the planet's resources, they aren't infinite. And despite that, we see several reports showing that the world economic activity will double by 2030 and even triple by 2050. So obviously there should be a lot of opportunities, a lot of incentives to rethink our processes. So starting out with you, Andrea, with this as a backdrop, what would you say circular economy means for the Volvo Group?
Well, within our Volvo Group ambition resource, of course, circularity is key. And it starts at the design phase. This is why, Lars, you are here with us today. It is about challenging our production patterns. This is why Jens is here with us today. And of course, we have to consider our whole purchasing perspective. Focusing on circularity will for sure lead to more efficient resource usage. And I'm as well convinced that it will open up for cost-saving opportunities for our supply chain partners, but also for us, Volvo Group.
Thank you, Andrea. And Lars and Jens, now when we have you with us today, would you please share with us in concrete terms what initiatives would you like to see as actions from our supply chain partners? Starting out with you, Lars.
We are on a very exciting journey, a journey of circularity, and I really would like to highlight three areas where we are really working hard right now. To start with, we want to increase our usage of recycled plastics. That's in all areas. It's when it comes to packaging materials in the factories, but also when it comes to parts in the vehicles. For example, interior parts in the cabs or exterior parts of the cab. And here we have ongoing projects where we really would like our suppliers to engage together with us. Second area is regarding carbon footprint of our products, and steel is a major contributor today to our carbon footprint. So in the same direction as with plastics, we also want to use more and more recycled steel, scrap, but we also understand that also in the future we will use virgin steel. And then we need to make sure that it's not fossil-based anymore. We need to go into the process of the steel manufacturing, and we need to think about circularity in that aspect as well. And there is so much development right now towards fossil-free steel, utilizing green hydrogen in the reduction process. And here we are really expecting a lot from the suppliers in this area. And the third example would be then the phase out of substances of concern, an area that is very important for us all in society. It's important when we are introducing new parts, but perhaps even more important and more challenging sometimes to phase out those substances on old parts, even on spare parts with low volumes. So here I really expect our suppliers to be on their toes, forward-leaning, coming with a lot of concrete proposals on how can we phase out those substances.
Thank you very much, Lars. Jens, your three?
They are very much in line with Lars, and I think I would start with the choice of material and how can we actually extend the lifetime of parts, and of course using the right material for recycling, but also I think one thing that will be growing in the future is remanufacturing. How do we actually design our parts and our material for remanufacturing, using it more than once? Number two is very much, again, around packaging. I think we can have an enormous impact here. How can we use more recycled material or reused material, but also use less? I think end-to-end supply chain is something we need to do together. We need to work together with our partners to really make sure that that is creating a lower footprint that we have today. Third area is for me circularity in operation. And here I'm talking about renewable energy. We're using a lot of energy in our facilities. How can we create partnership with energy companies? How can we create partnership with other supply chain partners to really change that footprint and go into renewable energy, but also into consumables, liquid cutting fluids, lubricants. How do we create circularity in these areas? And here we need help. I want our partners and suppliers to be part of this.
So many aspects there.
Absolutely.
Andrea, any comments from you on this one?
Well, I fully agree, Jens, what you are saying. It's about working together. It's about working in this system really together. And it starts, of course, actually with what we do today. A communication, being full transparent about expectations. And it's also important that we understand it cannot end at the first tier supplier. We have together find a message to cascade it down in the supply chain. I think it's also important that we come into actions for real and we don't stop with communicating. So what are the actions we are taking together? And it is also important that we understand this is not only true for the new technologies, it's also about well-known technologies, also what you were in, Lars. All areas have to be transformed to circularity.
Thank you very much, Andrea. And then also on all of this is an area of sustainability that also we need to include the aspect of legislations. So time, speed, we have also need to take a plan for. So I have two questions for you. What actions would you like to see already from our suppliers this year, 2021, but also beyond? Starting with you, Lars.
For me, it's important that we don't sit and wait for legislation. We need to start and act here and now. And I really would like to challenge our suppliers to challenge us when it comes to these areas. I know that you have a lot of good ideas out there. Bring the ideas to the table, come with proof of concepts, show us prototypes. We are really a pragmatic company, so we really would like to discuss around the real examples. So that would be my message to the suppliers.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Jens?
Now, I'm back a little bit to what I said before, and I think it's urgent. Work together, really find good ways with packaging. I think that's number one area. I mean, we are, of course, guiding you as suppliers on sometimes what to use, but you're sitting with so much competence that we could need and find good ways, and we cannot wait. This needs to happen now. The other area is renewable energy. This has to happen now. We cannot wait for 2025, and we need to find solutions already tomorrow. Let's partner up, let's find solutions. I know you have the skill.
Thank you.
Yeah, and on this note, Jens, I'm fully with you. It's about we have to revisit the business plans now, 2021. We cannot wait for legislation, for example. We have to do it with speed because we, the industrial leader, we have to start to move. And every move starts with having the basics in place. And, things like having 100% material data sheets, knowing your current CO2 footprint. This is where really the journey starts. So what are we intending to do from Volvo Group? Well, in all these regular business review meetings we have now, the sustainability performance is definitely part of it. And I can also only repeat what you said. We are in this together and we need your inspirations and your actions that we do this together.
Okay, we have touched upon expectations, we have touched upon the ambitions, so let's now also give some inspiration to our listeners today. Would you mind sharing with us some good examples of circularity that is already ongoing in the group? Starting with you, Jens.
I can take one area where we have worked for a long time, and that's our foundry that we have in Fuder, where we cast a number of things. And actually, we use 99.6% of reused metal in that foundry. And on top of that, we are also, of course, machining afterwards, and we are up to above 90% now of the chips that we are actually producing in our own machining, that we are again reusing in the foundry. So when we focus in an area, we can make a difference.
That's a really strong message. And from you, Lars?
I would like to take the example of batteries from our electric vehicles. You know, when they have served their purpose in the vehicle, and we say now it's time to exchange the batteries to get the best performance out of the vehicle, then those batteries are far from dead. They still have a lot of performance, and we have now very interesting examples where we are going to utilize those batteries in their second life. One example is here in Gothenburg, where we are going to utilize batteries connected to solar panels in a residential area, and we will balance then demand and supply from the solar panels then to utilize the electricity in that residential area for a number of years, and after that we go into the recycling of batteries. So for me, the whole business around batteries is a very good example of circularity. We have even started a new business area in the Volvo Group called Volvo Energy to maximize the business opportunities around the circularity of batteries.
Really exciting. Andrea?
And perhaps to give other good examples, of course it starts with us as Volvo Group. And if you think about our sustainability journey, for example, Jens, we are very proud that our plant in Ghent is already today a CO2 neutral plant, and we have achieved this by renewable energies, energy efficient equipment, etc. But now zooming in more on circularity, you know, we also from purchasing, we prefer to buy, for example, refurbed furniture instead of new furniture. Or in our canteens, we want to use local food and also take care about food waste reuse. And of course, we want to create a plastic-free environment. So it also starts with us, for sure.
Thank you very much, Andrea, and thank all three of you. It is time to round off this session, and I would also like to thank all of you listeners who have watched this today. You're going to find this webcast together with all other previous webcasts on the Volvo Group's YouTube channel, so make sure that you sign up there so you're aware of the next one, which will come out on May 2021. So, Andrea, before we close this webcast, any final words from you?
Well, we have to do this together. It is about working in ecosystem, working with partners who share the same vision and the same values like Volvo Group. And by this, we will create a win-win-win situation. Win for you, our supply chain partners, win for us, the Volvo Group, but most important, win for environment and people.